Welcome to Curry Gumbo, the podcast where Nicole and Ashley discuss Black film and TV. This week's episode is about Tina Gordon's 2013 film, Peeples. Peeples!
In one word, describe it. Describe this film.
Fun.
Adorable.
Refreshing. That's my word. This is I just stumbled across this movie last year.
Okay.
On Hulu. Just going through movies and watching, just put it on. And I loved it. Like, I put this movie on so many times. Just like, if you're bored at home, nothing's on TV, you don't really want nothing heavy to watch. You just want something fun, just a fun movie to put on. I put this on, Peeples.
And I think I told you before we started recording that my mom Ben told me about this movie. Like, Ben told me about, and I think that says a lot because it, reaches across generations. But
yeah,
I think I just put it out. I think it was a movie that I had wrote off before I watched it because I didn't want to think about David Alan Grier as someone old enough to have Kerry Washington for a daughter.
Oh.
Because I was like, that doesn't, David Alan Grier is playing the dad. He's way too young for that.
Yes, but I get that. But then on the other hand, I feel like if you're an actor, then act.
Very true.
I found out. Very true. Betty White was the oldest cast member in Golden Girls.
Yes.
Even though they had Sophia, who was playing the other girl's mom, she was actually, I think, younger than her.
Dorothy's mom, yeah. She was the youngest.
Yeah.
Of all of them, yeah.
So it's like, if you're an actor, be an actor. You got Mandy Moore playing the grandma.
Yeah, but I guess I don't know Sophia outside of the Golden Girls. Like when I think of,
but I was very surprised when I looked up all their ages, and I was like, "Yo, how's she playing the mama when?"
But played it well.
Like, how?
And you believed every second of it.
Yes,
every second. Yeah, well, I mean, when I watched it, I completely forgot that this is David Alan Grier, Two Snaps and a Twist. Like, he is David Alan Grier is trained from Yale. Like he's a serious, he takes the craft of acting very serious. But I think all of those concerns just went out of the window for me. And I think I also think I thought that because this was Craig Robinson and I'm always associating him with The Office, I thought that it was going to be one of those quirky white people, Judd Apatow type thing. And I thought it was going to be 40-Year-Old Virgin-ish. And which I don't mind. I really like that movie, but I was like, I don't need that from Kerry Washington today.
Let's give this a proper introduction.
Okay.
Peeples came out in May 2013. I don't really remember this movie. I don't know what happened, because 2013 isn't that long ago for us not to.
It was almost 10 years ago.
I mean, yes, but I'm saying it's how did we miss this release? Was it not promoted right? Did people not care about it? Because these are the cast. I
don't think it did well at the box office.
It's an amazing cast. You have,
it really is.
Robinson, you said Kerry Washington, David Alan Grier, S.E. Pathan Murkison, Tyler James Williams, Callie Hawk, and you have Melvin Van Peebles and Diane Carroll. This should have been I feel like this movie, I don't know what happened to it. It's super underrated. We should be talking about this how we remember all those Think Like a Man's and all them other movies that was coming out in the 2010s.
Well, to be fair, I think that Think Like a Man already had like a built-in audience because of the books.
Yeah. Well, but what's the other movie that was kind of like that?
I
Can't
think
think.
this is also like the years of the Tyler Perry productions, like Diary of a Mad Black Woman and
Yeah, but
The
even those
Family That
movies, it's
Prays,
like
but he
you
has
see
a
those
built-in
all the time.
audience. He has a built-in
I'm
audience.
just trying to figure like what happened with how did this one drop the ball? Like what happened?
I think that this it feels kind of expected. Like we've already seen this movie.
But it's
We've
so good
already
though.
seen this movie. It's really good and it's
But it's
really surprising, but we've already seen it. And
and
even like you
what
already know what's going to happen. You already know what's going to happen in this movie. But
yes,
it's
but
still worth the watch. Like it's so good. And it feels good. And it feels like you said refreshing and it's just funny, like laugh out loud funny. The brother, Chris,
oh yeah.
hilarity. Wade and Grace are together. They live together. Wade wants to propose to Grace, but he has never met her family. And
Mm-mm.
she is going to go home to Sag Harbor for a few days because of the
It's
Moby Dick um, event that happens every single year. And she is assuming that she's not hurting his feelings by not inviting him. Like she is literally refusing him when he says, like, I want to come and meet your folks. I need to meet them. She's like, nah, no. But I love you. Peanuts.
the
Peanuts is
safe
their
word.
safe word. And it means that she can shut down any conversation that they're having and he just gotta zip it. So yeah, she hops on that jitney alone and he after speaking with his brother who you assume is a doctor who treats human patients, we realize that he is a doctor who works on dolls. He restores them. And after having a conversation with him, he is encouraged to hop on a jitney and surprise her at her family's house. I feel
So
like
what do you
that's where
think?
you messed up.
Okay, but I get it. But what was he supposed to do? Just wait for Grace to not invite him to a family event?
I feel like, okay, I heard this on the radio station one time. Let's say, Nicole, you're dating a man and he loves you and you love him, and he wants a key to your apartment or your house. He wants a key. And you say, we're not ready for that, but that is something that I would like to look forward to. And one day, he just has a key to your apartment. He took one of your spare keys and went and made a copy, and he just got a key now. You were going to give him a key, but he took it upon himself to get it for himself. Now, how would you feel about that?
So okay, I get it, but and from Wade's perspective, how long? How okay? This is the question. How long are you to wait for someone to introduce you to their family? Someone that you're serious about. Like, how long do you wait?
How old am I?
Well, they
Am I?
seem to be like they weren't super young.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but I would also,
It's like a year, 2 years.
I guess for me, like it would be a red flag. And I think we wouldn't we
You
wouldn't
would
be able
break
to be
up.
together. Like if I gotta do all of that, if I gotta do all of that, then maybe you're not ready to be in a relationship. But you ain't answer my question about these keys.
I
Cause
was
you
kind
was
of
getting
upset.
that old boy Darius for stalking Nina.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't think
he
this
was
stalking right
stalking.
here?
No, it's not stalking because he showing up. okay, showing up to your parents' house. The funny part was that they didn't even know who he was.
Didn't
It
even
was so
know. Hey, ain't heard of a Wade.
it was like,
Didn't
well,
know who
wait,
he, and
okay,
no one knew. I could see no one knew. Not the sister, not the mother, not the brother. No one knew about him. I
he
can
was
see
like,
not saying
oh,
anything
Grace
to the
didn't tell me
dad.
about you. Like, oh, you know Grace. Oh, okay. How do you know Grace?
How do you know our Gracie? Girl, we've been together for some years. What you mean how I know her? So they have this awkward meeting, and he stays in the guest house because Virgil is not about to have this odd man in his house. But Virgil just seems like an ornery person. He seems like a person who is in a constant, not necessarily a bad mood, but he always seems a bit defensive. He doesn't seem like a very personal person. I'm not going to just
No,
walk up to you and ask you how your day is going. He looks like the type where I'm like, I have to keep my guard up and I have to be on my P's and Q's when
you
I am
can't
in his
tell him
presence.
anything. It's like the sister has a freaking girlfriend. That's
Okay, can we just stop? Okay, pause. Because as soon as I saw them, I said, "Oh, that's her girlfriend." Oh, and they're closeted. Like I knew it. Did you know it? Did you know it from jump?
I don't know. I didn't know. I wasn't 100% sure. I maybe thought, okay, maybe. But then after a while, I was like, okay, yeah,
I
definitely. But it
was
was just
5,000% sure when she says, "Hey, I'm the camera woman," because the sister is like a correspondent for CNN, I believe, and the sister's friend is the camera woman, and I thought, why the camera woman there? Like it just
yeah.
like, okay, clearly y'all are together and y'all have been together and it's kind of serious.
They've been together for years. She's been at the Moby Dick Day every year.
So ridiculous. But everyone is hiding something. Let's start with the brother, Simon.
Sigh.
Cy, who is a literal genius, also a kleptomaniac. What do you think that's about?
He seems just, I guess, doing things because he can. Like no one. I guess he has that feeling like no one pays him any attention.
Mm-hmm.
He has two older sisters who are pretty much, I mean, perfect in
Mm-hmm.
quotation. You have the CNN correspondent versus a lawyer. It's like, okay, what
But I
is
mean,
he?
he's also perfect. He plays the guitar. He builds robots.
Yeah, but I don't know if his family acknowledges
Mm-hmm.
him in that way. They seem to kind of dote over the girls.
It seems like he's alone because
Yeah,
the other sister, his sisters are much older.
older.
So he
Yeah,
probably more than likely grew up alone. And
yeah. He was the
his
only child, even
parents,
though he has older
yeah.
sisters.
And his parents are a little older.
Yeah.
So I think that there's just a loneliness that's built into that.
Mhm.
When you go to school, your parents are more than likely not the same age as your friends' parents.
Right.
So so I think that his plight, he might feel alone in that plight. Also, I think that sometimes people assume that the Black experience has to be linked to struggle,
Oh, that's
to financial struggle. And so he doesn't have any financial struggle. Your father is a federal judge. Your mother is an artist who seemed to have done like well for herself. Your sister is a journalist. Your other sister is a lawyer. You don't have any financial struggle. So it's
mm-mm.
like he has to create struggle in stealing things. Do you see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so I'm like, his because if he wanted to, everything that he steals, he could buy. Like
I think
he,
he's doing it for attention.
yeah. And this
He
like
needs
weird
attention.
need to be bad. what he would
Oh yeah.
assume is bad. Yeah.
But that's also that kind of that complex when you have, the well-off kid that
Hmm.
it's like, well, I you know, what is my place? Like I don't have
Yeah.
struggles. Like let me try to find something, like where do I fit in this
Hmm.
world?
Yeah. And he's running away from his genius, right? Because,
Yeah.
like, if you and I won the lottery tonight, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just won the lottery. There are some people's like, what do I do now? Like,
Hmm.
I've been busting my ass at work. What
I
do I
know.
do? What do I do? And I'm like, be, I would just call up Nicole and be like, let's work full time on this
Listen,
podcast.
I can find things to do.
I can find several things to do.
That's what I don't understand. Like I know a lot of older people who are like, well, if I retire, then I'll just be bored. I'm like, I
You have
would not.
not tried. Have you tried? Have you tried?
I have to work because that's if I don't work, what do I do all day? Just sit. I'm like, you can't think of nothing else to do but go to work.
But there's also, when their their access to certain things might be cut off because they're older, you know? Like, so,
I
like,
know people
to
who
a
are
certain
kind of healthy,
extent,
who are still able-bodied, that are
yeah,
at that age where
true.
they've been working for 30 years, and it's like, I'll just
And
work
that's
from
because they're so used to it, they ain't done nothing else. They ain't explored not near
yeah,
possibility of anything else because all you did was work. Now I ain't hating
exactly.
on you because you live in a place where that's what you had to do, you know. But okay, so that is little side. So what about the mother?
The mother is hilarious. I love Essie Pate the Marcusson.
She's another underrated actress who I feel like we don't celebrate enough.
Yes. I
She's a
think
recovering alcoholic.
throughout this movie, I was trying to figure out how did they get together. But then I kind of when she said that Virgil used to play, he used to what he was in a band or he used to
Yeah,
play
he plays
saxophone.
saxophone.
Well, he says he is, but you know, Wade tried to visit him at the club and ain't no Virgil played no sax at no club. But I'm like, okay, maybe they connected, you know, because he was an artist, she was an artist, and then somehow he just turned into a federal judge. But the mother just she always seemed
Loopy.
free, more loving.
Yeah.
Like when Wade came, oh, okay. Hi,
Yeah.
Wade. You can use my bicycle to go to the store.
But
But then I
that's
think
good.
they
You got to have that balance. Can you
yes, but I
imagine
also
if both of
think
them were mean?
but I also think they kind of handle their mom with kid gloves. Like they
True.
just kind of know, like, okay, that's just mom.
Hmm.
Like we can't really, because going back to why Grace never told her parents about Wade, it's like I get not telling your dad, but you don't tell your mom that you're
Very
seeing
true.
a guy. So it's kind of like, okay, my dad is this hardcore, tough exterior guy. But then my mom, it's like she's just a little too wacky. Like I can't talk to her about anything either.
Hmm. Yeah. And also their dynamic, like his super aggressive spirit, I could see him needing to be with someone like Grace who he can control. Not Grace. What's the mother's name?
I
The
can't remember.
mom, Mother Virgil. I mean, Mother Peeples. Um, I can
But then
see
he comes off as tough, but then
Daphne.
when we see that he is a free spirit too, because he's out skinny dipping in the in the lake.
He ain't skinny dipping with her.
I know. But it's like he has this, secret life of just being free and carefree, and all that tough exterior goes out the window.
I like when just after Wade leaves to go back to the city, everyone just makes their confessions like, oh, well, the dog is the one who had his wallet, so he's not really broke. Oh, well, Simon is the one who stole the mother's earrings, so it wasn't Wade. Your two daughters are acting funny because we're gay and we just don't know how to tell you. Um, and Daphne, the mother, confesses to putting the mushrooms in the drink that Wade drunk, which is why he was acting ridiculous at the Moby Dick event. And he says, "What is going on? You are going back to rehab." And she's like, "Well, okay." And I just felt like him saying it in that way and her just not giving any type of pushback just felt like she is very comfortable being the submissive partner in this relationship. And so sometimes, as much as I don't like Wade, as much as I don't like Virgil being this domineering figure, Daphne does make an appropriate counterpart to that. Because you can't have two aggressive people in a relationship together. It just ain't gonna work.
Yeah. Someone has to be soft. But I will argue that Virgil is soft too. He's just putting up a front.
Yeah. Why do you think so? There's a scene where Wade encourages Daphne to sing her song,
Oh
and
yeah.
Wade and Virgil is just against it. Why do you think that is?
I don't know if it's his he seems like put the past in the past. But it's weird because he puts up this front like he's going to the club to play his saxophone because that's, he's he loves music, but his wife can't do music, or maybe the music triggered her alcohol drug use.
Could be. And maybe it's because Wade suggested it.
Oh yeah, true.
He comes in and he's very charming. Everyone seems to like him except for Virgil.
Oh yeah.
Simon falls in love with him. He
Mm-hmm.
renames him Cy, which is a very paternal thing to do. So it's like immediately these two people are closer than Wade is closer to Simon than Virgil is, because I'm accepting the name that you have given me. The
Well,
mother
Simon kind of went off on his dad. He was like, "You knew I was gonna be a black boy." Simon, really, Dad? Simon.
I'm trying to understand why Virgil just sat there and took it. Y'all go watch this movie. It's hilarious.
It's good.
Okay, so we got Simon, Daphne, now the sister.
Gloria.
And what's her secret?
That she's a lesbian, but her parents don't know. The grandma knows.
The grandma knows.
Nana knows.
Just knows. Diane Carroll said, look, my granddaughter out here, my granddaughter moved to the Isle of Lesbos.
She's like, it runs in the family. So I expected it.
Daphne nor Virgil give me a homophobic vibe. So why is this a secret?
Well, I don't think it's a homophobic. I think it's more of perfection. This is a perfect family. They do everything in order. So I feel like the girls kind of it's like they tiptoe around their dad. Cause even Grace, it's like you can't tell your dad who you're dating.
Yeah.
I think like that. Like we can't tell dad who we're dating because it doesn't matter who we date. dad is just going to be dad. It doesn't matter if it's a girl, a guy,
Hmm.
this guy. Who cares? It could be anybody.
That's
He
true.
he's just not gonna like anybody.
Why do you think she was comfortable with admitting this to Wade? And why does she want to experiment with Chris? So Wade sees that. So
Oh,
when they're at the grocery
Wade.
store,
Yeah.
when they're at the grocery store, you know, there's some flirtation between Gloria and her camera woman friend. And Wade notices this. And they notice that Wade notices. So when they're
Hmm.
alone, you know, Gloria says, "Hey, I know you saw us. You saw us. So like let's discuss you seeing us." And he plays Gloria's therapist, and I guess gets her to confront her desires. And he's asking, you know, whenever you've been in the presence of a man, has there ever been a time where you've been sexually attracted to a man? And I don't think that that's ever been the case for Gloria. So I think when Wade's brother Chris shows up, she's thinking, huh, like, let me try this out. Like, let me see, am I really a homosexual? So, you know, but it doesn't work because
No,
she has to have her friend come and join the festivities because she's not attracted to men at all.
not at all.
But you would think, like, her being that age, that that type of experimentation would have already happened.
Not when you're the chocolate Kennedys. When
That's
you have
true.
to be perfect, you don't experiment. You
This is
do what
very
you're
true.
told.
So on to Grace. Grace done been arrested. Grace done dated every man 65 and older in the town. Grace ain't told her parents or anybody in her family about her boyfriend that she lives with.
Exactly. When they came to visit, because that was the thing.
They done
Oh,
came to visit. What's up with Grace?
I think she's embarrassed about his job because Wade
Would you be
he
embarrassed by his job?
yeah, you have to like stand up. I don't know how you're gonna spend that. Make up children's songs about going to the bathroom, and he calls it.
Well, not
Oh, he
just
sings
going
about.
to the bathroom. It's about other things.
He calls it kid counseling with a K.
Counseling with the K. I said, don't do that. Don't do that. So he doesn't have a white collar job. He doesn't have a blue collar job. He has like a purple collar job, like something that he has completely made up. Um, but I think that that's really innovative. Like he has created a lane for himself. Who else creates interactive like experiences for children as a way to have them cope with any type of emotional concern that they have? I think that that's wonderful.
Yes, but you
But
can't
I would
explain that.
also be
It's gonna
very
be
embarrassed
virtual.
because it's like, how am I going to sell this to my people?
Yeah, exactly. Like, do you have a master's degree? No.
And he doesn't present himself as a rich individual.
No.
Because if that were the case, if he were making like $100,000 a booking, then I feel like people wouldn't have concerns. They wouldn't have
Mm-mm.
questions about that.
And then he has his grandmother's ring that he wants to present to Grace. And yes, people can say, "Oh, that's super sweet," but usually when you're passing down family jewelry, It's most likely because you can't, you can't afford.
Yeah. I mean, especially if we're taking a pessimistic view as Virgil does. It's like, oh, so all I see is a man who couldn't afford no ring come in to try and marry my daughter, the
Mm-hmm.
lawyer for the UN. Make this make sense. This don't make sense. You ain't gonna marry no Grace. That was too funny. Um, Grace went to jail for 3 days. We still don't know. We don't know why. What do you
Grace has
think
a
it
lot of
was?
secrets. Grace had breast implants that
Breast
went.
and like, why don't we know this?
The mom was like, "You couldn't. I'm sorry, but you couldn't tell."
Why doesn't she tell him?
I don't know how do you bring that. I don't know how to bring that up. Like,
It
hey,
comes up. It will
so,
just come up organically. If we've been together so long, we live together. It's gonna come up.
but do you have to like? Is it something you have to disclose? By the way,
I don't think
you
that that's
do.
something that you have to disclose. I don't think that I think that one, you should not assume things about people's bodies. I should not assume that um, everything on your body is organic. Just shouldn't assume that. But
Is he supposed to ask?
I don't think that he should ask, but I think that it's something that seemed very important to you, right? So why wouldn't you? It's like she's not sharing very important things. You went to jail.
Intimate details.
Why wouldn't you share that with me? And your father had to get you out. Why wouldn't you share that with me?
You
That
dated
seems like a very traumatic experience.
a lot of people in the town. Well,
Older men. And you
it seems
already
like
put your father on this pedestal.
yeah.
So I'm immediately thinking, like, what sick, twisted desire do you have with older men as a result of your obsession with your father?
True.
Favorite scenes. Go.
The bicycle scene. That's hilarious. So when they line up to get their coat one by one, that's kind of how you know the tone of this family
Yeah.
and why they act the way they do around Virgil. It's like, okay, time to go to the store. All right, one by one, line up, jackets in hand. Everyone has their bicycle. Let's go.
And it also, when they're on their way back home, and he says, "Run, chickens," and Grace is like, "Oh yeah, whoever makes it home first wins." Well, wins what? I don't know, just wins. It just feels like the dad enjoys creating tense moments out of
Competition.
moments that don't have to be tense at all.
Yeah.
But he probably gets that from his dad, who will randomly punch him in the stomach just so he could stay ready. Played by the wonderful Melvin Van Peeples.
Yes. Another funny scene was when so they was it Virgil and his dad assumed that Chris was in a fraternity because he had on a jacket
Mm-hmm.
that he probably got from what was he got it from the Goodwill or
His
something,
roommate.
or his roommate. And then they asked him to step, and then he was like, "Okay."
He
I don't know what
didn't
he
know
was
what to
doing,
do
but it wasn't a step.
at all.
That was hilarious.
My favorite scene is when they catch Simon at a club
Oh
and
yes,
they
in the
bum rush him in the bathroom. And that's where they learned that Grace went to jail for like 3 days and dad got her off. But Chris is saying when they bum rush Simon, he's like, wait, no, my dad is. And Chris is like, we your father now. He's like, oh God. He's like, don't call on God. You'll be on your knees soon enough. Just hilarious.
If you could have celebrate a literary day, like Moby Dick Day, what day would it be?
The day Celie put that knife up to Mister's neck and said, listen, all that beating me and shit, that day is over.
What you say? Have I ever done anything to you?
Have I ever asked you for anything? Have I ever asked you for anything? I ain't even asked for your sorry ass hand in marriage.
So Color Purple Day.
Yep.
You want Color Purple Day.
Celie Day.
Celie Day.
I'm here day. I may be black, ugly, poor, but I'm here day. That's what I want. What about you?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good book. A classic book. I'm thinking of like Toni Morrison, but then sometimes she can get a little bit depressing.
It's like, ooh.
It's kind of sad. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to celebrate that. Song of Solomon was good because it is about going back to your roots.
I mean, at the end of Beloved, Setha realizes that she's her best thing. And Paul D helps her to realize that. I thought that was very loving.
Yeah.
That could be a moment because I mean, Moby Dick is also very, it's like Captain Ahab does die. Like, why are we celebrating this book again? But yeah.
I love this movie. I love that it's just about a wealthy Black family.
Mm-hmm.
That just is. It's like all of the, I guess the plot lines in the movie is just about family stuff.
Yeah.
It's just super refreshing. It's good to see. I love seeing Black people just living abundantly and just, not having, what do you call it? Not struggle.
I think that's another one of the reasons I liked it. I never felt afraid for any of the characters.
No, it was just a fun comedy.
Yeah, it was really fun. So you kind of like the baggage that that some of the films carry with like, oh, these are Black people, well-to-do Black people living in a predominantly white area. What issues will they face? I was never worried about that. The entire film, even though they went out into the city, it was very like insulated. It's like, this is about this house, this family, and the secrets that are in this specific family that Wade is going to uncover. It's like Wade just got there and already he knows that the sister's gay. Already he knows that the father hangs out with nudists. Already he knows that the son steals. He knows this.
Kind of like, it is kind of true in a way, because I think sometimes in people's family, they might be so caught up in their own stuff that they don't even, sometimes you're so used to your dysfunction that it's not dysfunctional to you. So when an outsider comes in, it's like, wow.
Yeah, you need that new perspective. Yeah.
It's like I can see all through all y'all.
Every last one.
Wow. This is crazy. I was surprised to see that Tyler Perry was one of the producers.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that.
And then we didn't mention the writer and director, Tina
Yeah.
Gordon.
I mean, she also wrote Drumline, ATL, What Men Want, Little.
That was a good one. What Men Want.
I have not seen that. Maybe we should put that on our list.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. What Men Want. I watched. Did you watch What Women Want
With
some years ago?
Mel Gibson.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah. It's a good twist. She
Okay.
did. What did she do with Little?
She was the writer.
Okay, so she wrote
Um,
Little.
let's see if she wrote it alone. Tracy Oliver and Tina
Oh,
Gordon.
okay.
Yeah, Tracy Oliver out here.
She is.
Yeah,
I'm proud of her too, because she was on Awkward Black Girl.
absolutely. And she also, I mean, you've really been loving Harlem. And,
Yeah, I
she
know that's her
created that
too.
series. So,
These are the type of shows I love. This is like my type of
mhm,
TV movie.
faux
It does.
show.
I was looking up some of the. I was trying to find like different reviews on People's, and it's like I'm so upset about these ratings, like the IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, come on now.
Can't trust
Like,
them. Can't trust them. You could trust Curry
what?
Gumbo though. And I give People's a 8 out of 10.
Yes,
Like
definitely.
leaning towards 9. Like we flirting with 9. Like flirting with 9.
Rewatchability for me, that's how it is for me. If I like a movie, is if I want to watch it again. I watch
Mm,
this all the time. Like
several times.
I will put this is a movie I will put on. Like if you have someone comes over, like, oh, let's watch something.
Yeah.
Let's put on People's. Have you seen People's? You haven't seen it?
Let's watch a
Girl,
feel good
let's put on
film.
People's.
It's a feel good film.
It is.
So thank you, Tina Gordon, because you did that.
Yeah. Thank
And
you.
do it again. Give us a People sequel.
Well, if you go back to her resume, I'm liking all her stuff. Little
Oh
was
yeah.
funny. Drumline. I mean, that's a Atlanta classic.
Yeah.
And what else? What Women Want?
She know what
That's
she doing.
she's. We need to say her name louder. Tina Gordon.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another film and more opinions. Leave a review and tell us what you'd like for us to watch. And let's keep the conversation going on Instagram. You can find us at Curry Gumbo. Be well. Happy watching. Love y'all. Bye.